You're watching Poland Daily Business. If you haven't heard about cross-layer timber technology for construction, you should research that in Google. Very exciting piece, because the old technologies, old materials are being formed and turned into the extremely modern, eco-friendly building material. Carmen Gorska is a researcher from London, but right now from Spain, who is researching to what degree this is safe to put humans into the wooden buildings in 21st century. Well, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the nice introduction.
And apparently the fire safety is a concern of the entrepreneurs and customers of this business. Is that understandable?
Yes, of course it's understandable, because in the end, despite all the benefits of cross-laminated timber, it is still a combustible material, and therefore we need to understand new ways of design in order to take into account the combustibility of this material.
Mm-hmm. What is your research? What proved your research? Is it what the conditions have to be met in order to provide a safe housing for future generations?
Okay, so in physics, let's say, there is a field that is called fire dynamics in buildings, and we have developed lots of models and theories for this fire dynamics. However, until today, these fire dynamics model, they were not including burning, the structure itself is also burning. So my research is about understanding how this fire dynamics is going to change when we also have floors and walls burning and providing additional fuel to the fire. So that's what my research about. It's also about understanding with more detail how timber burns and how we can achieve, for example, self-extinguishment of timber at the end of the fire. And in terms of designing and residential buildings, I just believe that during history, we had to understand the properties of all materials. Like, for example, steel is going to lose all its properties at 500-600 degrees, and we just designed for this, taking that into account. So we have to do a similar process for timber. Timber is going to lose its cross-section during fire, so the structural capacity is going to be reduced as the fire progresses. And we just have to take that into account. We just have to take into account how long evacuation is going to take, and therefore for how long the structure has to be standing in place.
Right. Well, on the very general level, because we will definitely not go into the technical details in this conversation, can you say that compressed-layered, cross-layered timber buildings are generally more unsafe than the brick building or wooden frame buildings?
No, I don't think there are safe or unsafe materials. I only think that there are safe or unsafe designs. We just need to take into consideration the properties of the materials into our design. So it's not a matter of the material we use, but it's a matter of how we design.
Mm-hmm. Are there specific kind of timbers that are going to be used in this first most combustible layer?
Usually we use spruce and pine, but it's true that there is research going on around the world where they are doing cross-laminated timber with hardwoods and other types of wood. But today, most of the majority of the used timber is spruce.
Wow, very interesting topic. Do you think like 5-10 years from now we will see the larger percentage of building constructed out of this 21st century but with very old tradition material?
I don't think it's going to be the largest percentage in that time frame, because despite knowledge is progressing very fast and we are pushing research a lot, but there is still all the regulatory framework behind, which is always a bit slower than research. And it is basically a stopper right now for this type of building. So we really need to change our regulation in order to use the whole potential of this material.
Right, and the regulations have to have their research being proven, and that this takes years to complete. Well, thank you very much, Carmen Gorska, a researcher who is researching the most modern material humanity came up recently, the cross-layered timber. Thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you very much.
That was it for Poland Daily Business tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, so please tune in.